edition of the Inside Scoop with Superior Clinical Research. I'm your host, Brianna.
And I'm Martha.
And today we're going to be talking about ensuring patient safety and the role of the Institutional Review Board,
also known as the IRB. When I think of this topic, I think this excites me because I think this is one of the things that the general public usually have a concern about, the safety. And that's one of the things that we take the utmost seriousness of the safety of it.
Right.
So one of the things that we have here in clinic, we have medical board certified medical directors, we have nurse practitioners, we have a research staff, and we all have our first aid and CPR. We have cutting edge state of the art equipment, so ECGs, phlebotomists. So that's ways that we start to even think of the patient safety.
Yeah. I think another piece of it too, when you talk about patient safety, is even beginning just with that conversation piece, making sure we have those thorough informed consents, and then following up with the questions, answering those questions, and really building that rapport. Like that really goes into patient safety with just the idea that I feel safe with these people.
Yep, and one of the other things we do is we work with the existing physicians, so existing primary care physicians that our participants already have, to say, hey, you are in this study. This is the information about the study. So, and they give the choice. Yes, I want my physician to know. No, I don't. And it's their choice. And I think that goes back to that trust, right?
Right.
Building that trust. And that trust starts with having those conversations. The other way, so we have the protocol.
Yeah.
The protocol is our roadmap. It is our recipe of how we control and work through the study.
Right.
Also in that, it talks about the patient safety. And there's other associated documents with it. So if I think of one of them, it would be the IB, investigator's brochure. That gives all the side effects, all the things that can happen with the drug.
To kind of look for.
Yeah, what to look for in these. And then there's also safety alerts. The sponsor sends out safety alerts or things that happens through the study. So not to derail our conversation, we are talking about the patient safety and the role of the IRB. So the role of the IRB is multifaceted. So first, they are the support of the patient, right? So when you get the consent, the IRB number is there. And when they have questions, they can call the IRB. It's bolded. When we give the consent, we say, hey, this is someone you can talk to that's independent of us.
Site.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's big too, because that's a big piece that I always make sure I let my patients know when they see their informed consent, because I don't want them to think like, you can only come to us. Granted, I would want that to happen, but it's good to show them like this is an additional third party that you can contact. And I think it's just good to know for them to know about any clinical trial. Because let's say they don't participate at our site and they participate at another site, they don't know who to contact.
Right. So
the role of the IRB is just huge because it starts at the site side with first approving, is this study safe? They'll go through and kind of review all of those things. Does this put the patient at low risk to participate? Because you don't want to put the patient at high risk in a study. So, things like that is where they really play that huge role in kind of reviewing documents, making sure, the literature and things in there is protective of that patient.
Right. And also, before it even get to us, right, they're reviewing the protocol and all the sponsor associated documents. One of the things for us is that we always have to get IRB approval. IRB approval usually lasts a year, and then you continue with review, and that happens yearly. And so in our review, they review any patient facing materials.
Right.
So any participant facing materials. So any materials that participants going to see must be approved by the IRB. So any questionnaires, that's a good one. And I was thinking social media.
Oh yeah.
So any flyers that you see should be reviewed by the IRB. They also review our consent.
Yes.
We write our consent. Well, we get a consent template, and we change the consent template to meet our needs and our population. And they review those changes. They make sure that we have a 24-hour number.
Yeah.
Or they make sure that the right investigator name is on it, the right site staff name is on it, the right addresses. So those are types of ways that the IRB is like finding those things, and they find mistakes.
Right.
And they're like, oh, what does this mean? What does this look like?
Clarify
this. We get a lot of clarifications from the IRB. And so that's some of the ways that they just kind of in our documentation. Another thing is that when there's serious adverse events, you must report those to the IRB according to the IRB reporting criteria.
Right.
Some protocol deviations, whenever you deviate from the protocol, and that's a hard word, deviate from the protocol. What does that mean, Brianna, when you deviate?
Just meaning you do something outside of what the protocol tells you to do.
That's right. You do, and then you report those to the IRB as well. So the IRB uses those things, and the IRB and we use the IRB for questions.
Right.
Sometimes we lean on the IRB for when it's time for compensation. You know, what's a fair and just compensation
for our participants,
based on the risk of the study, based on the procedures of the study. So we may sometimes go to the IRB and say, hey, the sponsor is offering us this. Is this too low? Is this too high? Because one of the things we want to do is make sure that we're being fair for our participants.
Right.
So we fight hard for our participants in the protocol, in the compensation, in the type of studies that we do.
So yeah, I think like overall the IRB is just all things patient safety. If you Google what IRB means, it's always talking about the overall well-being of the patient. So any aspect that really is going to involve the patient, the IRB is going to have some sort of a review or going to have some sort of a knowledge that they're reviewing that information to make sure that the patient is put first and that their safety is at the top of the line when it comes to the site, and then also the sponsor.
Right. And so last thing we're going to talk about, I know we talked a lot about the IRB, the Institutional Review Board, but we didn't go into the details of what they are and what they do. Okay. That's another video to come. So like, subscribe, and comment so you can learn more about these words that we're just giving you teasers on. Have a good one.